Let me check my audio. Check. Check. Okay. Hello. All right, that sounds pretty good. Go with that. Welcome to Miss Chantell Talk. How you doing, YouTubers? How you doing? I know a lot of y'all probably sleep. A lot of y'all probably up tonight. It's the weekend. Miss Chantell is up for tonight. Still up, okay? Listen, I felt like chatting a little bit, so here it is. Here it is. Um, I hope my music not too loud. I put it over here a little bit. I might press mute every now and then if I have a cough or a sniff, okay? It's I got some allergy thing going on. All right, all right. So usually on the channel is not just about FBA talk. I like to talk about different things. I like to talk about biblical things and relate them to today biblical topics, um, cultural topics. I like to reflect on reality, the truth about our reality, which is something I think a lot of people don't do. A lot of people do not talk about the what ifs. And when I say the what ifs, I'm talking about removing a lot of stuff that's in front of us. You know, the stuff that's in front of us, like the artificial stuff in front of us. Like for instance, um, what if we had to grow our own food? What if we had to survive without government assistance? You know, like a third world country. You understand what I'm saying? A lot of people don't talk about the what ifs. Miss Chantel like to talk about the what ifs. I believe that you should be able to sustain yourself. I'm not talking about America right now. I'm talking about a what if situation that you should be able to sustain yourself in this world. And to me, you don't need. Let me get this commercial off. I hate when these. I'm gonna have to find me a station that don't have these commercials. I hate it. Ridiculous. So yeah, what I'm speaking about right now is the what ifs. Okay. Oh hell no! A second commercial. I gotta change this channel. Hold on. I am not about to sit there and listen to all them commercials. That's ridiculous. I mean, I know you got to make your money, but honey, mm-mm, mm-mm, no. Ooh, Kazamba is so sexy. Ooh, y'all know about Kazamba? Ladies, practice Kazamba. Keep your sexy. All right, I think this channel is good. Yeah, it seemed like a good channel. So yeah, back to what I was saying. I'm speaking about the what ifs. What if, I mean, the what ifs. And I was saying, the what if we had to survive without government assistance? Um, how would we survive if, we got to feed ourselves? I like to think about stuff like that. I like to go back to those biblical times when people didn't have all this other stuff, this tech world that we in, and think about how we would survive. Okay. Let me turn this down. So, um, my belief is that we don't need money to survive. No, no, I'm talking about what ifs. We don't need money to survive. We need food and water to survive, right? We need food and water. Hold on, let me put this comment in here. All right. Yeah, we need food and water to survive. The food is something that was God given to us. It's not something that we should be paying for. I think it's too loud. Honey. Let me turn this down. But yeah, I think that food is God given, freely God given. And all the food that we have, it reproduces itself once you put it in the soil. So it's given to us by a creator for free. So yet we're paying for food. Yeah, yeah. It's the society that we are in. Okay. It's a structured society. And it's almost like an experimental type of society. Okay. Because we're not living in the Amazon somewhere like them and they're not being F with. Okay. Nobody's messing with them, giving them stuff and telling them all kind of stuff. They're non-experimental. They're natural. What we consider natural. But in this society, it's more like experimental. Um, we also pay for water. Okay. We pay utility companies for water, or sewer companies, you could say, for water. I think it's utilities that charge for water. Wait, is it utilities or sewer? Well, we paying for water. Okay. Water is free as well. There's different ways to get water. Say if you was out somewhere in a village somewhere, those people be having water. If they if they're around springs, rivers, whatever it be, they have access to water. Food and water is something that we need. So I like to reflect on stuff like that and just think about those type of times um, versus today's time with all the technology that we have in our midst. Um, how is it helping us versus would it be better for us to live in a natural form? Okay. We have a lot of stuff given to us. I say given, not that we get it, is given to us. And this stuff is made really, it's made with harmful chemicals and stuff. Some of the shoes and stuff and clothing and stuff is made from things that's not good. Okay, chemicals. But back in the days, they wore garments that was just wool, natural, cotton. Okay. And a certain pair of shoes, not multiple shoes and stuff. Like you got to have dress shoes, sneakers, casual shoes, all that kind of stuff. Mm-mm, mm-mm. So I used to live in a small town. And in that small town, I came across just about all the elders there, and there were many elders there, many, many of them. I'm telling you, one lady, an old black lady, she looked about, I thought the lady was about 65. The lady was 85. I seen 98-year-old women walking down the street and walking up hills. I kid you not. Even the white ones that was old people looked young. Yes. And I'm like, what the heck? Listen, it's that slow pace. It's not a rat race in country towns. They live way slower than we do in the city. They are living stress free. Yeah. A lot of them farm. They farm their own food. Yeah. A lot of them have chicken coops and all that stuff. They don't have chemicalized meat they eat. They go and strangle a chicken in the backyard if that's what they feel like eating, or a sheep or something. It's a different lifestyle in country towns. People run from country towns. I love country towns, but it's a different lifestyle. It's more natural. The young people learn so much about the animals. They be having rodeo contests and stuff. They learn the horses and the bulls and everything. They learn how to take care of them, how to tame them. I think it's so wonderful. I, I, I mean, I lived in the town for a while, and you would see people walking around on not walking around, but you would see people just casually going by on their horse. You sitting on a porch and they're like, "Hey, how you doing? Oh, good." And they just them and their horse. They riding their horse, real, walking on it. The horses walk. The other little kids playing in the sandbox. It was normal. They see the horse and it was nothing to them because they're so used to seeing horses and stuff. It was really interesting. And another thing, oh my goodness, I had a neighbor. They have good memory in the country towns. I had a neighbor, and when I left town just for about a week, and I come back, she says, I can tell you everybody came by your house. I tell you, she did not have any pencil, paper, or anything. She gave me the rundown of everybody that came to my house, what time they came, what kind of car they were driving, and everything. I was like, wow, no need for security cameras. I like that though. Okay. That you got nosy neighbors and, that's a good thing. That's neighborhood watching. It's more close knit. And guess what? The young women out there, they buy homes at a very young age. I'm talking them girls be like 22, 23, buying homes. Oh no, they don't mess with Section 8 or projects. They be like, girl, a Section 8 project. Mm-mm. They buy homes because the homes out there, it's like 50, 60,000. That's it. With a lot of land. My cousin and his wife moved out there and they bought that. They're probably on their fourth home by now. And they raised their kids there. Um, the women do very well in small towns. Yeah. Let me turn this commercial off. So a lot of them work at factories out there, like Tyson Factory and stuff like that. processing the chickens, I guess. And those people stay at that company for like a very long time. They don't leave I don't know what type of work it is, if it's rigorous hard work, must not be, because they stay there a very long time. Like the car, I think they had like a car plant out there, like Kia and Tyson. And they had housing galore, like projects and Section 8 for other people who did want it, but nobody wanted it because, you know, you can buy a house for 50, 60,000. You can have your house built on the land that you purchase out there. So, a lot of people don't like small towns. They like action. But to me, small towns I like because it reminds me of a more natural lifestyle. Okay. A close knit community, more natural lifestyle. You'd be surprised. When I first went there, I didn't expect to see the women doing so well. But those women, they own beauty salons and everything, honey. Lots of different stores. Drive nice, fancy vehicles. I was surprised. And when I got to know a lot of people, we held conversations, and they would be like, why you want to live in a city though? I don't know how you do that, because all those people piled on each other. I'm like, huh? And we think that we're about them. Oh my goodness, why is you going to that town where nobody is? Ain't nobody there. It's boring. So it just depends on what you like in life, what you prefer in life. Um, I like the slow pace because I like the idea of living as naturally as possible, which that's not completely natural living, but it's very close when you can farm your own food. If you want chicken, I mean, you shouldn't be eating chicken every day anyway. And the city folks eat chicken every day, chicken everything, okay? Meat galore. But if you're in a country, those people don't be eating chicken every single day. They've been killed up all their chickens in a week. They go out and slay a chicken it's on occasion. So yeah, I like country towns because it reminds me of natural living. I think that we should be able to start a fire without a lighter if we needed to. We should be able to have the understanding of how to find water, because there are certain ways you can find water if you say, for instance, lost in the woods or something. There are certain kinds of ways you can find it. We should know. Living in the city, you can't even see the constellation. That's biblical. It's real now, because the constellation, the Bible talks about the constellation, the stars and everything. It's there to tell us about the months, the seasons, the years. Okay, not just to give light, but to teach us about the months, the seasons, the years. And we can't even see the constellation. We can't see the constellation because of all of these bright lights they put up in the sky. And then they'll tell us what's in the sky. Or it's about 10, 12 planets. We actually went to the moon. Yeah, in 1960, 56 or somewhere. Well, the technology was, okay. So yeah, living in a city it's um it's different. It's totally not a natural type of living. You understand what I'm saying? It's reflection time. Miss Chantell is just reflecting right now. Okay. And then another thing is, let's fast forward, right? Because I went to the past, like how it would be to live in a country town, how it would be to live in a country town. And let me turn this. Hold on a second. Give me a second. That's a little bit fun. Yeah, so I just was talking about reflecting on how it is to live in a small town and get to experience a more natural way of life, which I think that we should all try to get in tune with, learning how to grow our own food, understanding that food is free. We should not be having to buy food. It's free. Every vegetable, fruit, whatever we harvest from the ground, it can reproduce itself. It's 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 God given free food to the people of the earth. Water is free when we learn how to find water and how to dig wells and things like that and purify water. Water is free as well. Think about those people living in the Amazon out there. They survive. Okay. Um oh hey FBA combo, get you some hot lemon tea for your throat. Okay, thank you. Air, water, food, I don't know. We've been charged for it all. It's funny. We're being charged for it all. That's pretty. Hold on, let me do this right quick. I want to drop my link in the box, but I want to get my commentary. Then, if you want to come up, you can. But let me find my how they put the It says share your referral link. Okay, I guess this is it. No, this is not the link. This some type of hmm. Okay, I got it. All right, there it is. So let me remove this. Um, hold on, did I? I think I moved it. I know I'm trying to share my link. All right, so back to what I was saying. Is my music too loud? But back to what I was saying. I was just reflecting on living life at a slower pace, a more natural way versus the city life and feeling like it's sort of a experimental lifestyle because we're given everything. We don't really, do anything for ourselves. It's like we are being fed with a long spoon by others. You understand what I'm saying? Like if you lived in the Amazon, you would know how to read them stars concerning the years, the months, the seasons, and so forth. You would know how to find water. It's a certain way you can find a river flow of water using stars. Oh yeah. Um, it's a way you can find water, concerning to dig up wells, to dig up for fresh water and knowing how to, purify the water before drinking. If you boil it, period. We know that's one way to kill bacteria, but there's other ways to purify it as well and to find fresh drinking water. And stuff like that. I think that you know, that's a more natural way what happened here of living. A second. Now I'm gonna get to the futuristic of it now. Get to the future of Miss Chantel like that way of living. I was just reflecting on that and sharing my idea of how it's a better lifestyle to me to live in smaller towns. My family members ain't living in this. Child, let me tell you something. When I lived in the country, they came and they got the hell up out of it. It was like, girl, you crazy? I loved it. Yes, honey, I miss it. So anyways, yeah, I think it's more of a natural lifestyle. So let's fast forward. Let's fast forward. We're moving into a robotic AI robotics type of world. And a lot of people don't talk about this online, which I'm surprised because I mean, they have been preparing us for this for a very long time. To oh, okay, it sounds good because I thought it was too loud. Let me turn it up a little bit more. Yeah, they're preparing us to get ready for the robotic world. I mean, Trump has stated out of his mouth, directly from his mouth, that he and Elon was making this the first robotic type of place or whatever. But it ain't it might, America might be new to it. But listen, in other countries, it's already happening. But Trump gonna make it sound like America did it first. But anyways, it's already that took flight in China and Japan. They got robots all over the place, and they got robotic restaurants. They got a full robotic hotel. Oh yeah, they already doing it big time over there. Robots walking the streets. So we are going into a robotic atmosphere, AI robotic. We already have cars that drive itself. Okay. Um, and I spoke on the last live, I spoke how, it could be a little scary for people in my age bracket. But I think that for the young people born in the new millennium, I think that those young people have the fear factor hasn't quite kicked in. They're in their 20s and stuff like that. It hasn't quite kicked in. Plus, they're a different breed. I'm telling you, they are faster. They're different. Like compared to the babies born in the 80s and 70s, 80s, and 90s to the ones being born in the new millennium, quite different kind of children. The children nowadays, the babies, when they're born, they open their eyes right away. They're lifting their heads, and in about 2 or 3 weeks, for real, about a month, they're lifting their heads and they're doing stuff. Okay. So I mean, we have to recognize that the atmosphere is changing. We're in a whole new millennium and things are quite, quite, quite different. When I talk to young people, my son age bracket and stuff like that, they're extremely smart people. And when we was in our 20s, we wasn't that smart. And no, they're not big time readers or anything like that. They're millennial children. That's why. This is a new atmosphere. It's a new era, a new atmosphere. Okay. Pretty soon we are about to see robots walking around the streets, patrolling the streets. And I just want you to reflect on how would you feel? How are you gonna feel when you see that? Robots, because see, they got weaponized robots as well. They got robots and non-weaponized robots and weaponized robots. Okay. And the weaponized robots is gonna be patrolling the neighborhoods and stuff. It ain't gonna be no more police. What happened to my music? It ain't gonna be no more policing. Okay. Um, hold on, let me get my music back on. Yeah, I want you to think about that and reflect on that a minute. How do you think you're going to feel? Oh, what is this for a good thing? Yeah. How do you think you're going to feel seeing that? Okay. Robots walking on the street, patrol, patrolling traffic, posted at the schools. I mean, hey, posted at the school is a good thing because we don't need no people breaking into school doing crazy stuff. Um, they're gonna be used for a lot of stuff. Fast food restaurants, period. I told y'all in the last live stream, I said when Trump was firing all those people based on Eli, what's his name? Elon. That's because AI replaced those jobs. It replaced those people. And Trump didn't just dismiss them. He gave them a good bit of money to get on about the business, move around. I mean, some of them got like $40,000 and $30,000 because they were no longer needed because AI replaced their position. Greetings, non-swirl zone. I remember that name. Yeah. Welcome to the chat. Miss Chantell is reflecting right now on. I reflected on how it would be in the past. How it would be good for us to live a more natural lifestyle. In a slow pace atmosphere, like a small town, growing our own food. Because food is free, but yet we're paying for food. But food is a God given free, blessed thing to us because food reproduces itself, but yet we're paying for it. Same thing with water. We're paying for water that we can go dig up wells and find ways to get water and purify, learn how to do purification of our water. You can purify by boiling it. And stuff like that. Just growing our own food and raising our own chickens and sheep. If we want to eat some meat, which we shouldn't be eating chicken every dang on day, but if we want chicken, we just go slaughter a chicken in the backyard, and it's pretty, and no chemicals and stuff. Just living a more natural, healthy way, a slower pace. I was saying how the old people in the country towns, they look so young and they're so much more healthier. A lot of them don't even go to the doctors. And it's because they have a slower, more natural lifestyle versus the city lifestyle, which I personally feel that it's almost like a experimental lifestyle living in a city because you're given everything. Okay, you're not going out and cultivating nothing or anything. You just fed with a long spoon and you're told, this and you're told that, you know. And then I'm reflecting on the future as well. What's to come next? What's in the atmosphere? What's brewing? And what's brewing in the atmosphere is the robotic lifestyle in America. Now, Trump has what, about 3 more years as president? And he had teamed up with Elon. And remember, he made a statement and he said that they're going to make America the most robotic place or something like that. And we're going to love it and all of that. I guess he mean we ain't going to have to do crap because, it's going to be AI robotic type of stuff going on where we don't really have to do much, which, it concerns me because I'm like, well, if we don't have to do much, how are we going to get money? You know what I'm saying? Like people still want money to be able to that's just the nature of humans, greed. Um, I don't think I think you can give a human all they need, water, food, clothing, housing for free. They still gonna want more. You know what I'm saying? That's biblical. They're still gonna want more. It's a nature thing. By nature, we're not like satisfied with the little. And so with this future robotic lifestyle coming up, I got some FBA talk I'm gonna go over, but I'm reflecting first. But with this futuristic lifestyle coming up, I'm just wanting you guys to reflect on how you're gonna feel about seeing robots roaming the neighborhood, patrolling the neighborhood, maybe as they're gonna be running restaurants, and you're gonna be interacting with them a whole lot. They're fixing cars. If your car needs to go to a shop or anything, any type of shop is gonna be AI. Just about every aspect of your life, they're gonna definitely, AI is already in the hospital, robotics with surgeries and stuff. They use robotics already. They have machines they use and stuff to perform surgeries already. Oh yes, honey, that's been happening right there. When you go to hospitals, if you see your doctors typing in, they always typing on a gadget or the computer. They're typing in an AI system, and it gives them the diagnose of the person's symptoms and stuff. Okay, so it's been in the medical facilities. That's where everything go first, medical and military, and then finally, when they have updated, super updated versions, then they release what they've been using to the public. Right? It was like pagers. At one point, only doctors had pagers, but then all of a sudden, all the you know the b boys was on the street with pages because new technology stepped in, and they didn't use pages anymore. So, anyways, they definitely have new technology in the health facilities and military that we don't have access to, and that's the only reason they release AI stuff out, because they got more updated technology that we won't have access to for maybe 80 years. Maybe till they get more updated stuff. But anyways, um it is interesting. I want you guys to reflect on that, the fact that we're gonna be having living in a robotic world. You can look up online. Japan and China, they already doing it. Way ahead of America, honey. They already doing it. They have a lot of stuff out there that's run by robots, the humanoid robots. Okay. And the people there, though, they still seem a little uncomfortable, just a little bit. You look at them and you be like, oh, you don't seem totally relaxed and at ease with these robots around. They still look a little bit uncomfortable. If when you look at the videos, you'll see that they're not quite relaxed about it. Now, I remember a long time ago, not a long time ago, about a couple of years ago, those high tech guys like Bill Gates and the other ones, they had some type of conference they went to concerning AI and other technology. And when the conference was over, one of them came out. He was like, "Yeah, just no, leave that stuff alone. Just." He looked spooked, like whew, he looked scared. He was like, "No, no, no. I suggest you just go to the parks and enjoy your family. Go outside and leave it alone." Yeah, interesting. So let me start reading these comments because I know I'm not good at reading the comments. Let me start that. Okay, so Non-Swirl Zone says ICE offering 50K sign bonus and college loan forgiveness. Yeah, yeah, a lot of people, they're gonna take advantage of that, of course. Why not? Yeah. And then you say again, did you hear about the bushmeat found in the Detroit airline luggage of a passenger from Togo, Africa? Rodents and monkey. Yes, I heard about it. Yes. I mean, I'm not surprised, but yes, I don't really think anything of it, because if you're gonna have foreigners, like where I live at, a lot of the Asian people, when you go among Asian communities, they smuggle like certain kind of seeds and stuff and grow these exotic trees. I mean, the trees are super exotic, like beautiful. Okay, whether it be like flower, like this one tree, it blooms. It blooms like once a year, and it's beautiful when it does. Some purple flowers, but it bloom once a year, and it only lasts for 2 months. And so people from all around be coming to the park to take pictures of the tree. Um, yeah, if you go in their communities, you see all these exotic trees and stuff. So my point is, when you have foreigners living here, and Biden administration welcomed, like they were welcoming like 30,000 illegals to come here and become illegal. I mean, become legal. It was like 30,000 a month coming during the Biden administration. So, with all of that being said, they were welcome. And if they were welcome, anybody with a brain knows that these people are not going to leave their traditions behind. When they come, they're going to bring that with them because that's who they are. They're going to gather up in their own little communities and in their own areas and get familiar with each other because they're the same. So they're gonna build their own communities so they can continue their traditions in a whole nother country in America. That's how it go. I don't know why people expect them to actually just not bring their culture and then they're gonna put up a flag, of course. They may have left home due to, a lack of whatever, but they're not going to leave their cultural traditions behind. They're not going to assimilate into American culture like that. They're going to find each other, group up, which is normal. Let me tell you something. They have a group of Black Americans living in Japan, and they did the same thing. When they got to Japan, they wanted some familiar people who got the same culture as them and tradition as them, and they found each other in Japan. They began to have meetups in Japan, and next thing you know, it became a full-blown community of foundational Black Americans living in Japan. It's a good bit of them. And they come together every holiday. They still celebrate the American foundational Black American holidays. They come together and celebrate their traditional holidays in Japan. So that's just how people is. I don't think they wave no flag now. They don't do that. But they do celebrate and support each other over there and carry on their traditions over there because they need that support. Like if anything happened, the people who's there with them from America, from their communities and stuff, they know how things go. So that makes it easier, you know. So yeah, that's what it is. I'm not mad at them because America welcomed it. I mean, you should know they're gonna sneak stuff into the country. Of course they're gonna do it. I just saw two old ladies, they busted trying to sneak some stuff in. It was food. They were Asian and they were trying to sneak some type of Asian food into the country. And I guess they figured because they were old that they wouldn't be searched like that, thoroughly searched. But honey, they were highly mistaken and they were busted. And that's how they go. Okay, now they used to have a bunch of old white women going across the Mexican border all the time. Not yeah, and those were the ones that was laced up, you know, carrying the stuff. But they didn't search them because they were white and old women. Yeah, racism played a part in that. So, anyways, that's what happened. They got caught, and I'm not surprised they're trying to sneak some food from their country into this country. That's their traditions. That's stuff that they grew up on, and they want to bring it to America to their relatives. Okay, so I'm from New Orleans originally, and there's a meat called yasssss in New Orleans. They don't sell it anywhere else because the people refuse to put the real ingredients on it. So they were like, you don't label it with all the particular ingredients that's used and you can't sell it anywhere else. They eventually did, but at first they didn't want to do that. And so, because it's a very unhealthy form of meat, very, very unhealthy. But in New Orleans, black and whites, it is something we eat morning, noon, and night. It is so good too. We grew up on it. It's called hot sausage. And it's not like a regular hot sausage from Italian sausage from the store somewhere. You have to get it from New Orleans. But they're starting to sell it other places too. But I'm saying that because no matter where people from who born and raised in New Orleans go, they're gonna always crave beignets and hot sausages. This is stuff we grew up on. They're gonna crave that stuff. Perline, y'all call it perlines, we call it plurines. Um, they're gonna crave that stuff. Okay. I used to always tell my son, buy me a bag of chiwis. And he's like, what's chiwis? I'm like, what? Why would you ask me what's chiwis? I never heard of chiwis. I'm like, what are you talking about? We call our little, other places call it Cheetos. We call it chiwis, and it's slightly different, heavily seasoned, more. New Orleans they have their own cultural uh, cuisines and foods and snacks, even the snacks. Like everything is unique to New Orleans. So, like when I left as a little girl, I was looking for a certain kind of lemon pie. It's different. So, my point is that even though when I moved out of New Orleans, I still crave that stuff, and now we can order it online. And trust me, a lot of people from New Orleans order hot sausages and king cakes and all that online. Okay. So that's my point in saying that people gonna crave that stuff because that's what they grew up in. Okay. Let me see what else you have to say. When I was visiting Atlanta, a self-driving car pulled up next to me crazy. Okay. Can you admit that is listen, it's getting creepy. It's getting creepy. We about to see a whole lot more. We about to see these robots walking around. How you gonna feel about that? Talking about you seeing a car driving itself pull up next to you when you see a robot talking about, may I see your ID? You are loitering. You have been here 5 minutes plus. Okay. Shoot. I'm trying to get y'all to reflect that you're gonna be seeing some stuff out there. It's coming pretty soon because Trump got 3 more years, right? And he was like excited. He was like, yeah, yeah, we're going to be the first robotic nation, and which you're not the first. And we're going to, yeah, folks, look forward to it. And I'm going to make it so good that everybody is going to love living in America. I hope he hurry up because I don't know if you know that, inflation is, we're struggling out here, okay? Penny pinching, okay? But within the next 3 years, we should be seeing that because he only got 3 years left to put it out. Now I don't know if the deal fell through, considering his friendship with the Elon guy was, came to a halt. I don't know. Okay, so um, yeah, expect to see some more creepy stuff. Heck, they already doing brain chip implants. They're going to be chipping the infants at birth for control the brain. That's interesting. That's interesting. Yeah, it's a lot of stuff that is in the works that we don't know about. I was reading earlier today about how they're using DNA to store information. I was like, what do you mean using DNA to store information? So I had to go deeper into it, and it's not the DNA in humans, but it's they they structured it like in a test tube, like it's structured as though it's a human DNA type of thing in a test tube. And so they take it out. I mean, it's interesting. Just look it up on YouTube. DNA being um, storing information in DNA. Put it like that, storing information in DNA. It's a lot of stuff going on that we're not aware of. A lot of tech stuff, new tech stuff, AI stuff that they got in the works that's going on. I read about a lot of it. They got this biomedical stuff now, biocomputer. And let me see if I remember what that does. Shit, I read so much of it. I can't remember what the biocomputer do. But they got the biocomputer. They're gonna be using all type of uh the medical facilities are gonna be different. You're gonna be able to own your own medical facility. Yeah, it's I'm gonna do a stream on that one day. See, we just surviving. That's a way to keep us distracted because we're in survival mode when we live in a city. We don't have time to be concerned with what the hell they doing because we're trying to pay this expensive as rent, excuse me, and mortgage and car notes and all the rest of this stuff. So we don't have time to really pay attention to the atmosphere, read what's going on. I said in the last live stream that they were bringing robots to Black neighborhoods. Many videos are out there already. They're bringing robots to Black neighborhoods because pretty soon they're going to be patrolling the neighborhoods. And they're bringing them out there so the children can get used to the robots. They walk up to them, they be like, petting them, and a guy be like, "Yeah, go ahead, touch them, feel them, pet them, all of that." This isn't the weaponized one though. That's what he's thinking. Won't be able to pat that one. It's creepy. Okay, so I just wanted to reflect on that, people, and I want you to remember again that when they have all these movies that they put out, is to help program us to get our minds used to what it would be like to see robots roaming our communities and stuff like that. That's why they put those movies out there. It's for us to reflect on and to think, what if I see a robot? What would I do? Or it's they're programming people. Okay, let's move on to a different topic though. Think about that though. Look into futuristic, um, look into what is called bio futuristic happenings. Maybe you'll find it that way. Biofuturistic happenings or inventions or creations or something like that. But bio. Okay. All right, let's move into my FBA talk right quick. It's still the same old same. Ain't nothing changed. Same old same. I'm gonna say this first. We got Africans making videos now. And they are making videos pinpointing and talking about Asian anti-Black behavior. Did I say that right? They're talking about how Asians are anti-Black people, as though we don't know that. This is a way for them to deter us from Africans that's anti-Black, or not say anti-Black, Africans that's anti-FBA, a melanated people, which we are too. This is their way of deterring us off of their asses. Okay, they want to do videos pinpointing Caucasians and Asians being racist towards foundational Black Americans. And when they're doing the videos, they say, "We Black, we," and they know they're not one of us. There's an African girl that does videos, and labels herself as a Black American. We Blacks, well, not Black American because she African with an accent, and she says, we Blacks, we haven't created anything and we want to claim stuff. And I'm like, oh my goodness, these people are so like loony toony. I'm just not into entertaining them anymore. Period. I know they got some people that want to bang with them. I'm not the one. Because when I see stupid, I just gotta let stupid be stupid. I mean, I seen a video today on Lady Bull. I think that's how she pronounced her name, Lady Boule or Bull. And the guy, the African guy, was saying how Africans don't produce anything. They haven't produced anything. They can't produce anything. They haven't produced anything. All they do is flee around the world. And when they get a chance to live a better life somewhere, they have the audacity to look down on other people. We know where you're coming from. It's horrible. And you come to America, granted that foundational Black American people fought so hard for all Black and brown people in this country to have a way and to be able to get paid fairly and to be able to, you eating from our people's struggle and looking down on us. And this is what the African guy was saying about his own people. Shame on you. You're disgusting to the fullest. When you move like that, you're a very wicked, nasty person. Period. There's nothing else to follow. I'm not about to entertain somebody like that. I'm just not. Again, there's some people that don't mind banging, but when I see stupid, I gotta let stupid be stupid and just leave me alone, stupid. And I definitely don't have nothing to do with you, stupid. That's stupid stuff. Because I would not do that shoe on the other foot. I'm not going to somebody's country, running around the world trying to find somewhere I can eat and have money to send back to my family and then, disrespect those people. That's foolish. Foolish. Okay. I'm not into that. So yeah, that's what they're doing. They out here making videos, Africans making videos pinpointing anti black behavior practiced by whites and Asians and Latinas. But what about your anti FBA behavior? I guess they feel like they're not anti black because they're dark, they're melanated people too. No, baby, you guys are anti foundational Black American. And we melanated. So yeah, I don't entertain them. Good riddance to whoever decide to entertain them. You got to choose your battles wisely. So moving along though, I think that the diaspora and other groups have a serious problem with FBA, foundational Black Americans delineate. And I think this comes from the fact that, well, first of all, some of them are saying that the foundational Black American delineation is nothing but they're relating it to the Trump mega, I ain't gonna say movement, but they're relating it to the Trump mega crowd or gathering or whatever, um, which they consider anti-immigrant. So they putting that on foundational Black Americans. When we say we're delineating, they putting that same stamp on foundational Black American delineation movement. Some people say it's not a movement. I consider it a movement. I'll tell you why in a few. But they're putting that same stamp of anti-immigrant, xenophobic as well onto the foundational Black American delineation movement. So you see, the white people like, oh, Trump, not just whites, the immigrants are like, oh, Trump mega people are anti-immigrant. And then now that they're hearing about foundational Black Foundational American Delineation. They're like, oh, that's another group. The Black people here in America, the founding ones, the foundation of Black Americans, they're anti-immigrant too, just like the white people. Oh my gosh, you guys are so hateful in this country. What is the matter with you people? They're anti-immigrant in this country. Now, dang on well, you guys have come here and been living really good. Government been taking care of you like crazy, not just Biden administration. I mean, you have immigrants that have been welcomed to America. They gave them public housing, Section 8, food stamps, SSI, because a lot of them, when they came here, they were on SSI because they had ailments and disabilities when they came. And they paid for their children's education and stuff. What they call them? Refugees, and however they came. Refugees, a lot of them. And they didn't end their TPS every time the war in their country had been ended. Every president continued to extend their TPS, temporary protection status in America. Some of these people have, like, one type of Asian, I think it was Philippine. The guy was basically, he came, he had three. He was 32 when they ended the TPS and sent him back there where he didn't know anything or anybody, because that's how long the TPS ended. I mean, was protected in America. The war had been ended in their country, or whatever was going on over there. It had been ended. Okay, so that's how they go. Um, they have been living really good in America. I don't. How you gonna say it's anti-immigrant? No, what happened is that you have a particular kind of president now, and we're gonna talk about that in a second. But before Trump, they were living very good, better than foundational Black Americans in this country, better than us, as they like to say. That was our tax money because a lot of them wasn't working no way. Okay, so now that you have a new sheriff in town, and he is very different than the others. Trump is very different from all the presidents that, in my lifetime at least, that I've heard of and known of, read about. Very different. And how is he different? Well, the first time he took office, he didn't know a lot. And that came from his mouth. He said, it's a lot of stuff that they turned me away from. They denied it and blah, blah, blah. He didn't know what he could and couldn't do. He was new. He was told what he could and couldn't do. But see, by the time he got in there the second time, it's it's different when you have a president that go first term, and then in his second term they're more experienced, more knowledgeable. They're gonna come a little bit more harder. You ain't gonna be able to tell them what they can't do, because then they're gonna start enforcing things. And that's exactly what Trump is doing. And in the process of him not winning a second term right after his first term, he had time to recoup. He had time to say what he gonna do with his enemies. I kept saying about that girl. I kept saying, baby, if he win, you should leave the country. I kept thinking that. Leave the country, sweetheart. Get your money hide hidden somewhere, because this man liked to hit him in the pockets where it hurt. So when he got in office, he was moving fast. Y'all seen when he did the inauguration, right? He was like, yeah, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. So at least he got in there. He already had like 27 of those things, executive orders that he signed off, 27 right away. And the first one was tackling immigration, illegal immigrants, and all the people that came under the Biden administration. And a lot of them during his first term that he wanted to end TPS and stuff, like the Haitians and stuff like that. Okay. And right. It's not a lot of white people. We know they got illegals from there too. But remember, he said um, he wanted people here that was not from shithole countries. Places like Norway and stuff like that, where they're more productive and educated or whatever like that. Okay. If you consider it racist, hey, all right. But let me see his comment right quick. Non Squirrel Zone say FBA seems to be boycotting everybody who's anti-black, braiding shops and certain restaurants. Listen, um, we're working on it. Put it like that. I think that it's good to acknowledge, as a collective, what's going on in the community. And we all do acknowledge by now that a lot of other groups are anti-black, and a lot of melanated groups and brown people are anti-FBA. Okay. What I mean by the anti-FBA Foundation of Black American, they don't really want anything to do with us. They came to this country and joined in with the government system they joined in with the system of racism that was established against foundational Black Americans. They joined in with that system, and they played a role in behaving in a racist manner towards Black Americans. Only when they needed us is when they befriended us. Example being the MLK movement, Martin Luther King, not MLK movement, Civil Rights movement. White women, they wanted to gain some rights and stuff like that, so they latched on to. They tethered on. I ain't gonna say tethered because that's when you pretending to be us and all that. But they latched on to the civil rights movement with their demands, and then you had the Latino population latched on the civil rights movement. Oh, we the civil rights, Latinos civil rights. They all latched on to the movement, with their own demands for their community, of course. The Asians latched on with their demands for their communities. The natives did the same thing. So see, when they want a voice, they'll latch on to foundational Black Americans and befriend us as though they like us and they stand with us, but they don't. And when they got their demands met, they were finished with us. They didn't support foundational Black Americans. Okay, foundational Black Americans are very open people, unfortunately. Very open people, unfortunately. And what I mean by that, they used to have unity, but they had this mindset that um, we need to draw in other people. One second. We need to draw in other people in order to stand strong when we never had nobody else's help in anything. Our people was fighting for themselves for a very long time. We never had anybody else's help. But in the mindset of some of our people, integrationist mindset people, type of people, all of us are not, all of us do not have an integrated mindset. Many of the when they had the school integration thing going on, many Black people was against it, sending the children to a hateful environment, talking about getting them educated. A lot of our Black people was against that. You didn't see a whole bunch of Black children going to that school. You had like 3 or 4, less than 10, that sent their children into them white schools. A lot of the community was against it. A lot of the community was against Marcus Garvey, who was pan-African and promoting go to Africa. A lot of them was against him. They'll tell you he had millions of followers. Well, baby, why millions of followers of his did not go to Africa? They didn't even go to Jamaica. Or they didn't even leave, period. They could have left. Just like he went to Jamaica and he went to Europe, past Africa up like 2, 3, 4 times, and went to Europe, they could have left too. It wasn't that hella expensive that they couldn't afford that trip. There, a lot of people were not following Marcus Garvey like that. Okay, a lot of people was here fighting for equality and all that type of stuff like that. I told you on the last live stream, my people are visionaries, and visionaries, even if it's a bad environment, they can see good. They can see. They have a vision of goodness coming out of it. You see what I'm saying? They have a vision that we can make it into this right here. And that's the whole success story of foundational Black Americans in this country. They have always been in a position where they had to make things better. Unlike white people, Black people had to take little crumbs and whatever and make things better for themselves. And they did so good when they were segregated. The white folks became super jealous and began to bomb and burn down the neighborhoods and put lakes on top of them and stuff like that because they were excelling. Our children were more educated when they were educated by their own. The white people know this, so they welcomed in the Black students, and they immediately begin to say that these students are dumb. And because we're culturally different, we have a colloquial dialect that is quite different from theirs. Every group has their own colloquial dialect where we speak differently. Nobody walk around speaking standard English. That's for essays and research papers and stuff. Don't nobody walk around speaking standard English. You would never hear that. We all have a colloquial dialect, including white people. They speak a colloquial dialect too, which is a form of slang spoken in each of our communities. Bangladesh, they be talking English and they got Spanish words mixed in it. Then you got the Asians, they have colloquial dialect. We Black Americans, foundational Black Americans, ours is called Ebonics. I don't know who changed it to some AAVE crap, Ebonics, and so forth like that. So when our kids begin to go to their schoolhouses, they begin, well, you're not speaking English. You're not enunciating and speaking whatever, whatever. We're culturally different from you. Of course we're not. We eat different from you. We think this is funny. You don't think it's funny. We completely different. And so the white people began to see the difference and labeled it as slow, special ed. Even as time advanced, they wanted to medicate the children. You know, this is a capitalist society. They wanted to make money off of them. You know, all that old crazy stuff. So my point being is that a lot of us were never in agreement with a whole lot of stuff like Marcus Garvey movement, moved to Africa somewhere. Um, a lot of them was not in support of sending our children to those integrated schoolhouses. A lot of us were not in agreement with a lot of different things that took place. Okay. A lot of us recognize Africans dislike for us long time ago. And they used to speak on it, but they would get shut down real fast by Pan Africans who was in cahoots and still is in cahoots with African nations, presidents and stuff to get Black people to move to Africa and build Africa, bring their money and their skills and finances and build Africa with nothing, in return. Just move there, bring your purse and your wallet and your skills and build Africa. But you can't run Africa. You can't get nothing from them, no land. You can't buy land because the land is tribal. And I mean, just So I'm very happy to see foundational Black Americans today saying, you know what? Well, bitch, I'm xenophobic. Excuse me for cursing. I'm xenophobic. Then you ever seen the video of the lady in South Africa and she was talking about the Nigerian? Y'all gotta go. I hate them. I hate them. I hate them. They taking our jobs and so forth. And she said, I'm xenophobic. Then I'm xenophobic. I'm xenophobic. Darn it. So at this point, if you call it the xenophobic that we standing up for ourselves and saying no more, then we're xenophobic. Let it be. But you're only calling us xenophobic at this point because we're not allowing you to take advantage of us anymore. We're not helping you anymore. You're going to stand over there on your own strength in your own little few numbers and represent yourself, and it won't be lovely. So, yeah, if that represents xenophobic and hatred and all that, then so be it. Just move around, move along. That's where we at. And I'm very proud of my people for recognizing, calling it out, and standing strong on it. Now, we do still have some sympathizers in our communities and some people that's emotionally connected to a lot of the diaspora people. They are emotionally tied to these people. They may have bi ethnic children, and or they may have a partner of the diaspora, from Africa or the Caribbean or something like that. And so when and they're full blood FBA. So when they go to hit these links and stuff to talk to FBA people, they be in their feelings, and we be like, "Why you so in your feelings if you say you FBA though? You must not be FBA." No, I'm FBA. Oh, some of them are FBA, but they have emotional ties to a lot of the diaspora people, like Caribbeans and Africans, because they have bi ethnic children or they have a significant other of the diaspora. So they demand that we stop the nonsense and continue to allow the nonsense, which is people disrespecting us, disrespecting our culture, our heritage, our ancestors, disrespecting us today. They demand that we continue to allow it and that we should bring, hold on, let me turn this commercial off, and that we should allow the good ones that support us. They say they call them the good ones. They're not disrespectful to foundational Black Americans. They actually support delineation movement and all that. They understand we should allow them into our mix and a seat at the table when we're sitting here trying to figure out how to get our community back to a point of unity that we can gatekeep and things like that. That doesn't make any sense. That's people who are emotionally tied to other people from like I said, they have children that's by ethnic or significant other or some type of relative that's of the diaspora, Caribbean or African or whatever, and they don't like it. And I consider those kind of people compromise. Compromise they mean us no good. Foundational Black American people. They don't mean us any good because they don't care about our lineage, our children having a lineage to say, this is where I come from. See, why Africans tell us we don't know who we are and all that kind of stuff, because anybody can come here and claim that they're one of us. That's why they're telling us that. You don't know who you are. You don't know where you're from. You don't know. You don't have no culture or anything. Anybody can say they one of you. What are you talking about? Right. You're right. We're going to stop that though. Our children is going to be able to pinpoint a specific lineage that they're from. They're not going to be talking about, oh, I'm Black, which means melanated. No, 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 baby. What kind of melanated are you? Oh, I'm specifically foundational Black American. And Africans and other people from the diaspora, they don't like it because they can't identify as us anymore. They're running around here talking about they're Black Americans, still trying to tether to us. When we say it, the gig is up. Damn it, move around, move along. They're running around here talking about they African American, Black American, Black. We Black people, you know that you never been Black. You always identified as African, but since you know that we serious, oh, and it's gonna get more serious. We definitely going to unify to the point where they're not gonna be able to tether, and they don't like it. They really don't like it. They ain't gonna be able to come up talking about we don't know who we are. We don't have no culture, no identity. Oh, really? What's foundational Black American, boo boo? Move around. Anyways, let me see what this chat said right quick. What do you think about Umar Johnson? And what do you think Umar Johnson and his position on special aid and AD? Everything Umar said was sure enough true. Yeah, see, there's a guy way before Umar. I don't know if Umar, admired him or something like that, but Kwame, I forgot his last name, Dr. Kwame something. He's a foundational Black American, and he was doing that right there way, way before Umar. What's his name? Let me see if I can look him up right quick. Brother is so intelligent. He was doing that in the 60s. Okay. Hold on. Let me see if I can look him up. And Umar is talking the same stuff he was talking. And the brother was a little bit more what's the word? He was a little bit more classy, you could say, with his. Umar is a little bit out there, okay? This brother was a little more classy. He was about his business, let me see, Quan. See, I forgot his last name. Let me see if I can find it this way. Child typed in special ed, it brought up the rapper. Oh my gosh. Let me put 1970 in 19, I think it was the 70s. Yeah, this brother been talking about this for a long time, way before Umar. Okay, and Umar kind of like he pretty much talks the same as this man. Okay, but this brother, man, it's Dr. Kwame something. Now, why he not coming up? Okay, let me see. Maybe I'm spelling Kwame wrong. Okay, I know what I'll put in there. He was very big on Black boys, especially because see what happened was that they targeted our sons mainly. It wasn't the girls. It was the boys that they targeted because boys and girls learn different. Okay, girls are a little bit more settled. Okay. Boys are more hyper. So our boys, especially, we have a different kind of energy. That's why I don't believe no culture of people should be teaching another culture of people's children. No, 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 no. It's different cultures. You don't understand those children culture or them. No, no, no. So our children have a different level. Our boys have different. They're a different culture than their boys. And hold on. Game and Fish in Arkansas calling this. But yeah, Umar, he pretty much kind of, child, he's saying the same thing this man said. This man was talking this stuff back from in the what 60s and 70s. Oh, here we go. I found him, y'all. They begin to sit further in the back of the class. When they begin to ask less questions, when the ball becomes more important in their book, when they begin to cheat on their tests, we appeal to you. Turn your sons and male students on early. Teach them how to read early. Teach them the beauty of being black and believing in God early. But many of us have waited. And we said teach him being proud of being black and believing in God earlier. Ooh, I see it was something sexy about him. He is so gorgeous. Anyways, his name is, let's see, Empowering Black Boys. What's his name? They got the video here, but they did not put his name up here. Okay, give me a second. Yeah, this brother, he goes even deeper than Umar. Can you believe this? They still ain't had his name on the video. Okay, hold up. Yeah, man, he been talking this way before Umar. Umar kind of, at one point I thought Umar had stole his whole little vibe, his whole get up. But then I'm like, well, maybe not. Maybe Umar is just as have a passion for such a thing just as much as he does. You know what I mean? Um, See, they got the video up of the brother, but they don't have his name up there. That's crazy. Yeah. But this man been around way, way, way before Umar. Go back to the video. The video is called Fostering Success, Empowering Black Boys with Early Education. It's Kwame something. Dang. So anyways, I'm gonna try one more definition. Doctor. Maybe I'm spelling Kwame wrong. Kwame, empowering Black boys. So yeah, you can look that up since I can't find any videos. Um Hold on, this might be him. Oh, I got it, y'all. His name is Dr. Jawanza. Dr. Jawanza Kajufu. He been around way, way, way before Umar, baby. And he was talking that same talk way, way, way before Umar. You know, same talk, exact same talk. He actually have a book out and it's called something Black Boys. Let me see. It's called The Conspiracy to Destroy Black Boys. Maybe Umar read that book and became inspired. But I'm not going to take that from him. Maybe Umar is somebody that was just as passionate as this man concerning Black boys in America. So I won't say that he got got it from this person. He probably was somebody that was interested in that just as much as him. So yeah, that's what I think about Umar though. Okay. For as him, his behavior online, sometimes It's unfortunate. I think it's sad. I think somewhere down the line, he lost it. You know what I'm saying? He lost it. He let himself be too much online. I guess when you're too much online, it can be bad for business. Too much. But anyways, what was I saying? Because I wrote some things down my timeline that I wanted to talk about, but I was answering questions from the chat. But yeah, I think that the problem that foundational Black Americans delineating um is a problem for a lot of people of the diaspora and other groups because they were able to not tether but latch on to us and use us for their benefit, and we're not doing it anymore. Okay, we defining who's FBA, who's not, and who we gonna support, who we not gonna support. And people are listening because you know what I'm saying. These major corporations that make money off of our culture and stuff, they're pulling out and rebranding. They're like, we about to lose money because of this delineation. We're gonna have to pull out because they saying they're not supporting none of it. So people are listening. They have Trump administration. They're listening in a lot of stuff we talk about. You see Trump and them coming out saying, okay, we're going to do another census with no immigrants because they're counted in, when it comes to the statistics and all of that. This country is race based. So they're counted into our numbers. Okay. Does that help us? No, because when you count them into our numbers, you're piling us up as one with immigrants, and we're not immigrants. Okay, so and then you put statistics on us that's not all of us. So it's a lot of the nonsense in that we breaking away from, which is a wonderful thing. Delineation is gonna help us break away from all that kind of stuff. So moving along, my thing is, I think that they have an issue with it because we're not helping them. Period. That's it. We no longer having anything to do with them. We're not helping them in any kind of way, and so they find us to be xenophobic and anti-immigrant, which we're not. Okay, because if we were, our people wouldn't even fought for you to come to the country. They actually fought for you to come here. Okay, so um, I want to go into foundational Black Americans. I've talked about this before, but foundational Black Americans have to be very particular in how we move, um, and not be compromised. And when I say be compromised, I'm talking about we cannot allow other people that we consider allies to come to the table and end up speaking on our behalf, end up representing us. Can't support that because that's a form of being compromised. When you bring people in from somewhere else, and online, we just chatting right now online. But concerning the foundational Black American delineation, you have foundational Black Americans that actually want to pull up people from the diaspora to the table to partake, and it doesn't make any sense. Again, from my perspective, Miss Chantell says only full blood foundational Black Americans should be speaking on foundational Black Americans. Period. It doesn't equal hatred or being xenophobic. That's what I think. Okay. Moving along. I think that let me say this right quick. I think that when you have people that's bi-ethnic or biracial, I told you that's bridge people. They can go that way or they can go this way. Their mind might go that way today and the other way tomorrow. It's like, they're bridge people. They're in between. Okay. So that's why I think foundational Black Americans have to make sure, they don't compromise themselves by allowing other people to pull up a chair because they say, "Oh, I support you." That's nice and everything, but right now this is just strictly for, okay, that's how they go. And remember, we have foundational Black Americans that's very passionate, very pushy about promoting people from the diaspora to be a part of delineation. And that's because, again, remember, those, when you hear a foundational Black American promoting that the delineation movement, allow other people from the diaspora who we delineating from, allow other people from the diaspora to join in on foundational Black American delineation movement. When they're passionate like that, that's because they have ties. They have emotional ties to those to people of the diaspora they might have by ethnic children or significant other of the diaspora. Okay? So every time you hear a foundational Black American coming real hard, remember that person got ties, emotional ties to other groups of people. And they're pushing for them. They're pushing for them that to be allowed into the foundational Black American lineage. Okay. Sir, you say you foundational Black American, you FBA. Well, why are you pushing so hard that we allow people to that we don't establish ourselves as a lineage so that our children can be specific, have a specific lineage to pinpoint themselves to and be proud of and everything like that. Why are you pushing so hard for? Yeah, because they got bi ethnic children or a significant other that is non FBA of the diaspora or probably of a whole nother race. So see those kind of people? Mm-mm. That's what I call compromise. They're compromised. And that's not a bad thing. It just means that they shouldn't be in positions, you know. They're moving along. They're moving along. Um, see if somebody says something in the chat. Nope. Um, so I think that we online, there's a lot of issues online concerning foundational Black American delineation. There's a lot of issues online. We're still having those issues with other groups online because people are constantly inserting themselves into FBA delineation, right? If you hear FBA foundational Black Americans online talking about delineating and why we delineating and so forth like that, you get to hear our frustrations about why we have decided to delineate and why many of us are collectively saying, yes, that is true. We're congregating online and expressing our disgust from the diaspora and other groups tethering our culture, making money off of us and disrespecting us. It's been whites too that have done these things. And Fat Joe, he's a Latin, right? That has done these things. And we just, having platforms where we discussing, delineating and gatekeeping and stuff because people trying to steal cultural achievements. They trying to identify us while misrepresenting us and hating our guts and so forth like that. So when you hear people online, the foundational Black Americans online discussing this delineation and moving away from this type of stuff, You get to hear them vent their frustration. It does not mean you insert yourself into that. It don't mean you get to insert yourself in it. You come up and talk about how you think as a non-FBA that we're being xenophobic and hateful. Um, it doesn't quite matter what you think. You get to hear what we think, and you can go host a panel discussing what you think, and whomever come up to discuss what you think with you about, what you think about FBA's delineating, then that let it be. But for the most part, you might want to just be quiet and hear what they're saying rather than inserting yourself. Another thing is that in this atmosphere right now, and I'm not promoting this, but in this atmosphere, you don't have the upper hand as an immigrant. People are calling ICE on people who fucking with them and stuff. And listen, you got Latin calling ICE on Latin. Okay? People, like one man just sent his wife, um, call ICE on his wife. I guess she was driving him nuts or whatever, and she was illegal. And so far, you're not in a position to be up here pushing any type of, you know, fuss. Your position is to be quiet and you know what I'm saying, stay quiet for these 3 remaining years while Trump is in office, because he's not playing. I mean, they just had a job fair and 2,000 people showed up. 2,000 to become ICE agents. Okay, you're not in a position to be online fussing with people or saying anything that's close to a threat, especially that. Okay, so to me, I mean, I'd be like flabbergasted. I'm like, for real, you up here online saying all kind of stuff? Do you understand the atmosphere right now? What's going on? Do you understand the anti-immigrant, bad immigrant? What's going on right now? And you gonna get online and make threats and want to fuss with somebody and tell somebody what you're gonna do and all that? Mm-mm, mm-mm. Nah, it's not a good thing. A lot of people don't know that when Marcus Garvey was doing his thing here in America, I told you a lot of black people, a lot of foundational black Americans wasn't with him when they go back to Africa stuff, which he never been to, never passed it up 4 or 5 times. Listen, they were in cahoots with the government. Those foundational black American men was like, look here, this man right here is a threat. We don't know what's going. He's kind of crazy. They labeled him, mental. Um, and they got him up out the country. Foundational black American men were not in support of this guy being in the country and talking the talk that he was talking. And right now, that position remains because a foreigner in a country talking crazy like that, all black people got to do is say, okay, we're gonna push for you to be known as an agitator in a black American community and so forth like that. Now you're a group of immigrants. I don't know why you would think at this current time this president would support you being here versus the foundational black American citizens that he said out of his mouth took part in building this country and so forth, shaping this country. I'm just saying. Child. So anyway, let me move forward. I want to talk about this right quick before I wrap up. This is pretty interesting. Do FBA text message? Okay, so I'm gonna put it like this here. I like to call FBA a movement. I like to call it a movement because we want it to grow, right? By definition, it might not be a movement, but to me, it's a movement because we want it to grow into other things. Okay, not just a identity specifier, but just we want to collectively. First of all, we're moving as a collective, even identifying as foundational Black American. Okay, so that too is a movement itself to me. And then not only do we want to identify as Black, we want to gatekeep. We want to get in positions where we can gatekeep and do other things. You know what I'm saying? Boycott, gatekeep, whatever it is we need to do. We want to we want to grow it to that, right? So in my idea, I think that it needs to be more structured. Do FBA, I mean, listen, in order for us to become FBA, we need to delineate. So it's FBA delineation time right now, restoration time, right? Restoration time. We're restoring back to our back to being identified as a collective, gatekeeping our culture and cultural achievements and whatever else we need to do. So it's we're restoring things, right? We collecting ourselves up and gathering ourselves together. Okay. So all of it's a movement for me, right? It's a time of restoration for foundational Black Americans. We gathering ourselves together and identifying as a particular group from other melanated people and brown people, and we preserving our history and culture and identity, our heritage. We preserving this for us and our children to come, right? So in that case, I consider a foundational Black American delineation a movement, something that has to grow, not just the lineage that we identify with, but something that has to grow. Okay, so if it was just something we identify with, we just say anybody can say the FBA. But no, 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 no. It's guides, baby. You have to like be determined to be you have to be not determined, but let's say you have to be they have to have guides that say who's FBA and who's not. Okay, so it needs to be a little bit more structured. And Tariq is saying he's not a leader. He just promoted the identity. He promoted the term, I mean, foundational Black American um as an identity for Black Americans because we need to have a lineage base because we're not immigrants. We don't need to be tied in with immigrants, okay? And so to me, it needs to be organized more, have an organized body and be organized more so we can be more strategic. That's my opinion. Okay. I'm talking to my FBA people. What do you think? Do you think that we need to be more structured and organized? And I'm talking about concerning foundational Black American delineation. Does it need to have a leadership body or an organized body that can help us be more strategic? in what we're trying to do concerning delineating, gatekeeping, boycotting, and whatever else it is we're trying to do. You understand what I'm saying? I think everything needs a organized body of leadership. And I was thinking about that today, and I was trying to understand that part. That's something that Miss Chantell don't quite understand. I respect that somebody don't want to be the leader of something, but I don't understand how it can move forward, how it can grow if how are we going to move forward if there's no organized body of leadership within the FBA delineation? I'm gonna call it movement. Okay, it's not just a foundational Black American delineation is not just an identifier of specific lineage of people. It's a little bit more because, okay, you know what? Let me wait, hold on. I'm going too fast. I'm going too fast. Okay, the civil rights movement. It started out as one thing. They had demands, okay, and they were protesting. And then as time went on, many other groups, I'm talking about Black groups, latched on to the civil rights movement. Integration, school integration, the boycott, the bus boycott, and some other movements that sprung up, grassroots movements that sprung up also latched on to the civil rights movement. So it got kind of mixed up with the original movement. But a lot of that stuff were not of Martin Luther King. There was other people's movement that latched on to the civil rights movement, right? But when people hear about it, they assume it was Martin Luther King that was pushing this. The bus boycott, even though he supported it. Did he push the bus boycott? Where it was some other people, and then he, supported it, and then integration. I don't know if he supported school integration. I'm not quite sure, but the point is that it got other people join in, and it grew more. So maybe that's just the same with the foundational Black American delineation, where it's about this right here. It's just lineage based, but other people, other grassroots movements spring up and join to it and make it a thing, a bigger thing to grow. That makes sense. That makes sense to me. Yeah, that makes sense to me. I'm glad you talked it out with me. Talked it out with myself. That make a lot of sense right there because I'm like, wait a minute. Are we really doing like what? Wait a minute. How is FBA delineation strictly lineage based and nothing else? When you're talking about boycotting, FBA boycotting, FBA, what else? FBA gatekeeping and FBA this and that and that. That means it's more than just a lineage based identifier. Is more than that. So I like to hear what Tyreek got to say about that. Like, this is not just lineage based. And if something become more than just being lineage based, it has to have an organized body. There has to be an organized body to be strategic and keep it structured. Because if not, somebody can come along and spin it into something completely different. That's Miss Chantel's opinion, though. Give me a second. So yeah, I think when it becomes more organized, like more of a when there's an organized body to be strategic with it, it'll grow even more. And when I'm talking about, it'll reach more people offline, not just online, but offline, because you got people being strategic in a movement and they reaching out to people. They doing updates. They helping to set up things and stuff like that. So I just, it's not just lineage. From what I'm understanding, it's not just lineage based at this point. It's a it's a movement. It's not just something you identify. Because see, if you say it's just lineage based, then Drake would be considered foundational Black American because anybody can identify as a foundational Black American because there's nobody structured, organized leadership to say who is and who isn't foundational Black American. That is why it's important to have an organized body of leadership for the movement. Because if not, people gonna spend it how they want to spend it. But I heard Tariq talking about how Drake was not a foundational Black American because he had to speak up on that because they were saying, "Oh yeah, he's foundational Black American." So then he steps up because it's needed to be understood that it's certain kind of people that's not foundational Black American, even if they have, lineage of foundational Black American. See what I'm saying? So to me, it needs to, to me, every movement or organization has to have a structured, organized body to be strategic and not let it lose control, almost like the civil rights did, because it was so many people latching on until, a lot of people thought Martin Luther King was a representation of all these other businesses or whatever. I mean, not businesses. That mean I'm getting sleepy. I'm gonna hurry up. He was in reputation with all these other organizations, but they were not his organizations. They were other Black organizations, grassroots movements that latched on to the civil rights movement. And he can't do everything by himself. He had a whole congregation of people, including women, because women were the authors, Black women authored the civil rights movement, but they didn't speak. They were in the background, of course. During that time, Black women in general wasn't allowed to speak like that, represent themselves. So he had a whole brotherhood. He was not just by himself, but these, you know, yeah, y'all know what I'm saying. I think you follow what I'm saying. But I am so proud of my people. I very much am proud of my people for standing up and saying enough is enough because we really do need to delineate. By the way, I also found out the difference between ADOS and FBA, which I was confused about. I'm like, ADOS, FBA, it's the same thing. We delineated. But when I did a little research, come to find out that it's not the same thing. And I've heard Tariq and that lady, Yvette, they like, we're not the same. And they're not the same thing. I mean, they have commonality, common ground, which is delineation and bettering foundational Black American communities by establishing grassroots movements to aim to for economic justice, to be specified as a specific group and not be clumped in with immigrants because we're not immigrants and so far like that. But look it up because I'm not going to go over everything. The groups are different. Okay, they do have common ground, but they're different. They have different agendas. Okay, um, and I support both of them, of course, because people do things differently, but they're about the same thing. bettering a community. Okay. So yeah. And one group is politically motivated. ADOS is a politically motivated group. Okay, it's about politics. Her group is like about politics, which is very much needed because Black people doing this individual voting stuff is ridiculous. It really is. So I'm all in support for a group that mobilize our people together and help them to understand, to be a voting block and not vote individually, but vote as a block for their community. Okay. Um, I don't think foundational Black American delineation is not a political organization or movement or anything like that. It has nothing to do with politics. I think it's just specifically a way to identify a particular group of people, people that was here during, before, and during the founding of America. Okay, so just a second. I don't know what to think about the Drake situation, for as whether he's been foundational Black American or not. Listen, hmm, listen. If you don't know what Drake dad ethnic group is, how can you say he's a foundational Black American? At this point, what's most important is, organizing and making sure the people who speak on our behalf speak on foundational Black Americans, whether they be famous or not, making sure that they are foundational Black Americans. And if they're not, making sure we have a way to make it known, do not speak on our behalf because you are not us. Okay. That's the important thing to me. No more allowing people to speak on our behalf that's not one of us, period. That's something that should be worked on to me, even if it's a celebrity. And let me tell you, if you get online and blast a celebrity, oh boy, they're gonna read about it, they're gonna hear about it, it's gonna reach their ears and sight, it's gonna reach mainstream media as well. We don't gotta have no platform that's whatever. The social media is a platform, honey. And people, famous people in news media outlets and all that who search for stories, they watch. Oh, they're in tune with what's going on social media, especially in the political arena and stuff like that. Oh, yes. So we get online and blast them and put them in their place. Hey, look, like Fat Joe, he think he can speak on us because he rap or whatever or whatever. Like, what? Uh-uh. A lot of them been put out of business. Fat Joe, Akon, Buster, that girl Tyler Taylor. What's her name? Taylor. Tyler. Um, who else? Cardi B just about finished. Yeah. And they'll understand, other people in them will understand. Don't go there. This is foundational Black Americans. We're not doing that old school stuff where you get to talk like as if you're one of us. Mm-mm, mm-mm. So that's what I think about The of foundational Black American delineation movement of restoration, because we're in a time where we're restoring things. We're gathering ourselves together, collecting ourselves up, and forming a barrier of not a barrier, but a lineage base that our children in us and our children can identify with. So that way our group have a base, just like everybody else have a base, Jamaicans and whatever. And when we establish that base, yes, we have to have leadership. We have to have an organized body of leadership in it, not just one person leading, but an organized body of leadership when we do get established with the base. Y'all know how it goes. It's gonna come about. So I'm not concerned with whether he's FBA or not. I mean, it does have to be talked about so people can have an understanding, and that's up to. Um, I have my role that I play, and it's not that. You know what I mean? We have. I'm gonna say this and wrap up. In one group, we have different people with different gifts and skills. Everybody have different gifts and skills to contribute to their communities. Some people are hell of an artist. They can paint a picture and I mean like wow, hell of an artist. Some people are good at organizing. Some people are hell of a political they into politics. They strategically politically gifted. Say that. Some people are good with the children, organizing our children and with the children. Some people are good with elders. They love working with the elders. Some people are great at working with disabled communities. Some people are good with teaching. Everybody have different gifts to contribute to their community. Okay? So I'm not one of those political people. I'm not into politics like that. Um, and I'm not into really you know, I'll leave that up to somebody else to determine, set guidelines for who's FBA and who's not. But I have given my opinion on it, and it's very straight to the point. If you're not full blood FBA, both parents FBA, you should not be representing full blood FBA people. If you are biracial or by ethnic, half FBA or half, half FBA. And then I consider what I call a bridge people. They might go this way, they might go that way, but they're bridge people, and you know, they're more like bridge people, bridge people together. Is what I'm saying, because they go from this to that, and they're kind of like in the middle, you know. Um, yes, everybody can serve a purpose to me, but I'm very organized. Listen, I believe in being organized and categorized to the T. So we have no kind of confusion. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I see it. Yeah, that's how I see it. And people that want to, that's bi ethnic or biracial, and they want to they want to represent full blood foundational Black American people. It's because they the type of people that want to do what they want to do. And if you let them be bossy like that and do it, then that's you. No matter what you call me, it is what it is. So yeah, everybody have their place. Even people that's of the diaspora. That's allies. Some of them are allies. They're totally in support of foundational Black Americans, and that's fine. Just not representing full blood FBAs, but yeah, allies is fine too. I don't think anybody is saying that they hate uh, Africans and Caribbeans, but we're not tolerating the disrespect. And yes, it does make a very um, distant relationship because now we recognize who you are, and a lot of you are disrespectful. And we distance ourselves. That's what people gonna put in their head, that they're disrespectful, and they distance themselves. And unfortunately, Africans think that we need them. Oh, baby, it's the other way around. What are you thinking? What are you reading the atmosphere? What are you thinking? What makes we ain't never needed no Africans to do nothing. Africa has never done nothing for any foundational Black Americans here, but we have done a lot for you guys. We have fought for you to come here, and you are eating off of the struggles of foundational Black Americans in this country to this day. We have done much, much, much for Africans that they don't even recognize, but they actually believe that we need them, or they want us to believe it, and we don't. What we need for them to do is just to leave us be. We're no longer accepting applications for you to be a Black American. Hmm? That did exist at one time. Come on, join us. Not no more, baby. That's not hiring. But anyway, let's move along so I can wrap up. Listen, the raise is happening out there, y'all. People are saying in the news, we talk about floating news. I call it floating news because it's in the air. You know what I'm saying? It floats and then poof, it's not there anymore. It's something new. Floating news. Okay. It floats by is what I'm saying. So right now in the news currently trending, they haven't raised like crazy everywhere. People, companies, I mean, is definitely gonna be hiring, okay? But you gotta give them a minute, give them about 3 to 4 weeks because they're gonna have to adjust the plan payment plan for employees that's American because they're not gonna be able to pay. They're not gonna be paying us below, you know, what we're worth. You know what I mean? So give them about a month. They're gonna put up their hiring signs once they adjust the payment for American citizens. Okay. And I mean like, a lot of factories and a lot of different businesses. So here's the news. I saw a channel that's this guy, he's I think he was Latin, and he talks about how the people think that they're going to be able to hide out until Trump term is over, the remaining 3 years. And he's like, they're crazy. So it was a Latin guy and two white guys, and he's like, they're crazy if they think that's gonna be able to work. Um, yeah, so that's what the people are doing. They're trying to hide out for 3 years. Hey, um, another thing is, I don't really have an opinion on that because for me, I mean, people trying to survive, that's all they're trying to survive. So, anyways, so I talked about how they're doing a raise all over. hmm And some of the people trying to hide out, according to some of the other immigrant relatives, they're trying to hide out. And I saw on the news, like I think they're hiding out in churches and church leaders. Yeah. Well, not church leaders, but I don't think that was really related to the immigrant situation. That probably was something different. They had a church that was housing a whole bunch of immigrants. I believe they were immigrants, and they had them working for little or nothing, and all that kind of stuff like that. But anyway, they raided them. Okay. Um. Also, the mayor of Chicago. I don't know what to think about this guy. I don't know if he's FBA, but I highly doubt it. I highly doubt that he's foundational Black American. I mean, like, and it seems like he's trying to pull a Trump. You know how Trump had insinuated the January 16th? Seemed like he's trying to call the people out to fight against Trump or National Guards or something. I'm like, I don't know what he tripping on, but honey, you about to be fired. You tripping. He up there screaming at the top of his lungs that people reject this and that. I'm like, come on, you guys. Listen. When you up in age, it's a certain way you gotta move. Like, I don't know what to think about that. I'm like, come on now. They got a lot of people that don't like Trump, but they move in silence. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I don't think anybody in the community supports this man. All the Black people out here talking about him, they cannot stand him in the prior mayor. They can't stand him. I happen to think that they paid to protect they paid a lot of millions too. I think they paid because their energy to protect illegal immigrants is off the charts. So I'm assuming that, if I had to take a guess, I would say that they are paid to move like that. Okay. They care nothing about the Black people, the Black, the foundational Black American citizens. They care nothing about them. All they care about is the immigrant population. Come on now. It's common sense they pay. Somebody once said that's how all elections get won because they pay people off. Like, well, dang, dang. But yeah, I think the people gonna be happy to see National Guards come in and take control of the city because the people like they can't wait. They waiting and they happy. They already planning parties and everything. I mean, we're talking about a place where people listen, people could hardly bury their loved ones because they're afraid that they're going to have shootouts at the funeral. And because that's what they're doing up there, that's the culture up there. They shoot the funerals up and stuff. And so people are afraid, like, to even bury their loved ones and stuff. So when we're talking about that kind of atmosphere, this man is talking about it's safe. And I'm like, oh, the citizens is like, yeah, come on, come on. When are you coming? So I truly think that I don't know if Trump already sent the National Guard there or not, but I'm pretty sure that they're going to be there, and I'm sure the mayor know that they're going to be there as well. And I'm quite sure he knows that he's about to be fired for playing with the president. You know, yeah, he gonna straight up get him out of there. I mean, like he got connections right now. He's the president. Okay, people are trying to feed their families and keep their money, tight and keep it up. So just like he paid to protect the immigrants, they can pay somebody else to get him out their office. You know what I mean? They can make all kind of, um, moves to get him out. Which I think that he's going to be out of there pretty soon. They're going to definitely get him out of office. Um, Same thing with the lady who the all the Trump enemies like. Listen, I'm like, she lost her congressional seat. Or was she a Senate? I think she was in a congressional. She had a congressional seat she lost. Talking about Jerry, what they call it? gerrymandering. I forgot how they pronounce that, how they call it. But she lost her congressional seat. I'm like, girl, if you don't get out the country while he's president, you're gonna lose your money too. You better be concerned about your money because that man hit him in the pocket. Okay, when he went through there cleaning up all that excess money from those programs that was going in people's pocket, he said Social Security had all kind of fake, hundreds and thousands of fake, you know, participants was going into people's pocket. He snatched all their money. That's how he hit them where it hurts. He snatched their money. He going after Harvard, snatched their money. He snatches their money. Girl, you better put your money somewhere, honey. Okay, you ain't just losing a job. You're going to cover your money now, boo boo. Cover your millions. So, anyways, um, what else is in the floating news? Um, sure, it's still early. Okay. Um, so he's not putting a cap on Section 8 for 2 years. I don't think he's doing that because listen, that would be crazy. It's too many single mothers out here. I talked about that on the last live stream. It would be too many. It would be horrible. There's too many single mothers, and it's not about race. When we talk about single mothers these days, it's it's not about race. Um, don't you know they have women that adopt children from foster care, and they utilize Section 8 and stuff to take care of those children that's not even their children. It's different, different situations and stuff. We have yeah, we can't afford to have our kids on the street and stuff like that. So I'm very glad to hear that he's not putting a 2-year cap on Section 8, but they actually said that he's going to declare a national housing emergency, which is great. So that sounds like it's going to be something that helps everybody because at this time, a lot of people is struggling to pay rent, okay, and try to eat. Food is hella expensive, all that kind of stuff. So people struggling. So that's a wonderful thing if he helped with housing because then people have more loose money to, buy food and stuff like that, which is expensive now and stuff like that. Everything is going up. And to put a 2-year cap on how, like, what? You tripping. Let me tell you something. Like I had said one time, everybody, if you're American and you had a job before, you paid taxes. Hold on a second. Yeah, so yeah, so where was I? So I was talking about him declaring a national housing emergency. And Dr. Ben Carson, y'all know he worked for Trump the first term. He says that America needs a revival. He says that Trump is more of a Christian this term than a term his first term. And Ben Carson was working for him during his first term, and he says Trump is different now. He's more of a Christian now, he says. Okay, now I don't know if that happened after they tried to, you know, put a hit on him or whatever. And, maybe he became Christian then or something like that. I don't know. But according to Dr. Ben Carson, he says Trump is more Christian now. Yeah. Now, it's over 300 different not styles, over 300 different believers of Christianity, denominations, over 300 different kinds. The worship service is different, is what I'm saying. They believe differently and they worship differently. So I don't know what kind of Christian Trump is, you know, I don't know. All right. So, but that's a good thing to me. If he's more Christian, I mean, it sounds like he's saying he's more considerate now, which is a good thing to me. All right. And my last floating news topic is I talked about this though already. I already discussed how they have an ice raise and a lot of jobs are available now. And a lot of people are gonna go snag those jobs up. You can believe that. Okay. A lot of people about to go snag those jobs up. And before I wrap up, I want you guys to remember, reflect on that. Reflect on what's to come. We should be having topics like that too. Reflecting on what's to come. The atmosphere is getting people's, you know, um, the American atmosphere is getting people prepared to see robots in the community. They have a whole lot of videos where they're sending out robots in the community so people can get used to the robots, the children and the adults and stuff like that, seeing them in the community, okay? So reflect on that. Think about how you're gonna feel when you see robots running the restaurants, roaming the community. Okay? I did up some talking tonight. So anyways, that's it for tonight. Miss Chantell is gonna go ahead and log off. Um, and maybe I'll come back on tomorrow and do some more live streaming and chat about some stuff. I don't just talk about um FBA topics. I talk about different things. I say that in the beginning of the live stream. I talk about different things I like to do. I like to reflect on. Oh, that's melting. I like to reflect on, you know, the past, present, and future. It's good to reflect on that and also talk about where things are heading in society. But thank you for tuning in tonight with Miss Chantell. Thank you. Woo. You guys have a good night. Later.